Ryan and Kevin, they're spitting the truth, keeping it real, keeping it orange and blue. Talking recruit, who's next in line? Line our pride, it's about that time. Orange and blue, yeah, that's how we do. Postgame vibes, breaking it through. Ryan and Kevin, the crew that you knew. Keeping it fresh, keeping it orange and blue. From the court to the field, every play, every step. Debating the cause where the game is at. Who's rising, who's falling, who's making the cut. Line 9 for life, never stuck in the rut. Okay, recruiting buzzer got the inside line. Post-game chatter, they're always on time. Breaking it down, they're the voices you trust. Orange and blue, yeah, they repping for us. Orange and blue, yeah, that's how we do. Post-game vibes, breaking it through. Ryan and Kevin, the crew that you knew. Keeping it fresh, keeping it orange and blue, yeah. So tune in, lean back, let the wisdom flow. Ryan and Kevin with the knowledge they throw. Line 9 Nation, this one's for you. Forever proud, keeping it orange and blue, yeah. Orange and blue, orange and blue, yeah. Orange and blue, orange and blue, yeah.
Welcome to another episode, Keeping It Orange and Blue. Ryan Schroet with my guy, Kevin Ducey. What's up, Kev?
Hey, not much, Ryan. Had a great time coming home. Got to meet some of the folks who pay attention to the show, most notably our guy, Jay Began. Some other folks stopped by, popping champagne. Some other folks who know through the Twitter sphere. Had a pretty cool tailgate. I got better plans for next year. But, man, I thought the food was on point. Got to meet Jay Lehman, the All-American, was at our tailgate. Jay and I have talked online a couple times, but he's a real cool dude. I know you and Jay got a chance to rap. Riley O'Toole came by.
Hey, our boy, our QB, the Keeping It Orange and Blue quarterback.
Absolutely.
I got to meet Riley O'Toole, man. That was exciting.
He's a big dude, isn't he?
Oh, my God. You and him are pretty similar stature.
You're right, but I was a lineman. That's a Division I quarterback. It's a different story. But, hey, listen, last week I talked about how I don't know that I've ever been more frustrated in a 16-point win, on the road against a Big Ten team. I don't know that I've ever felt this way about a game where we were down 20-0 and lost 34-16. I'm positive about this, Ryan. I'm walking away from this going, listen, I think the mistakes that this team made were mistakes. I think that some of them could have been officiating. And I just listen, I think that Ohio State ran some pretty vanilla stuff on defense, but what I saw from this team is that we were not dominated at the line of scrimmage by the number one football team in the country. We were dominated in some other areas, and we'll get to that. But overall, I walk away from this thinking this team can win its final 5 games. This team can make a college football playoff. And there were some things that happened on Saturday that worked in Illinois' favor long term, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But overall, man, I walk away from this, and I'm okay. I'm okay.
Yeah, I think I'll be honest. At halftime, me, I'm a positive guy, but man, I was just hot. I was pissed.
The second quarter was 7 shades of awful.
Yeah, and the main reason I was so mad was because there was opportunity after opportunity and knocking, and Illinois did everything they could to just not capitalize and to give Ohio State short fields. And I'm proud of the defense too, by the way. The defense really did hang tough. I would have loved to not see that first drive in the second half, kind of killed and deflated the momentum. They allowed them to go down the field to go up 27-10, but
right. Yeah. Right after we scored to make it 20.
After we scored, because man, we get off the field there, Kev, right? Who knows? Illinois may go down and get a field goal. 2013, you really believe then, right? But they stopped Ohio State multiple times in short field positions, kept them to field goals. They forced at least 4 punts, which I'm proud of. And people and look, I know a lot of really cool Ohio State fans, but I think the realists know that Illinois gifted them at least 10 to 14 points in that first half, if not all of them. But while I think I can agree Ohio State is the better team and it has a lot more talent, Illinois is not severely behind them. And that's why, and I mean that because Illinois literally was dog crap in the first half, and it was it should have been 20-7. Okay, but
Yeah.
we love the Abneys. Like the Abneys are great people. Just you can't
do
false start on the 1 yard line. You just can't do it when you're playing the number one team. And I believe he did not play the second half.
No. And you look at things, Ryan. Last year we caught 2 butt whoopings, right? And the Penn State score wasn't a butt whooping, but it was a butt whooping watching the game. They dominated the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. We really struggled. Like we look back at that game and said, why did they throw the ball as much as they did? Because if they just kept running the ball at us, we would have been in trouble. Oregon dominated the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Now, some of the things in this game that resemble the Oregon game were there, but I felt worse after both those 2 losses than I did this one. Even though the margin was bigger in this one than it was in Penn State. And we played at home.
It's the turnover game, Kev.
It is. You lose it. You give them 4 possessions from your 38 and in. You give them the number 1 team in the country. If you'd have told me this before the game, we're going to lose a turnover battle, essentially I know the down punt's not a turnover, but it was. It's just not ruled a turnover.
Think about pinning them inside the 20 or giving it to them at our 40. You know what I mean?
Correct. Yeah. And so if you'd have told me we have 4 turnovers that grant them the ball inside the R30, give them the ball in R38 or better, and I'm like, well, how many are we forcing? It's 0. I'm like, we're losing this game 49 to 10, 40 to 49 to 48-0. I'm like, we're gonna this is 63-10 IU all over again, and it wasn't. IU moved the line of scrimmage on us. OSU didn't really. I mean, they ran the ball okay, but we stopped the run fairly decently. We had some effective run plays. Granted, we're down to 1 running back basically in the second half. By the way, Caden Fagan, what a warrior, dude. That guy was just hurt like a son of a gun. Still kept playing. I tip my hat to him. Prayers up for Khalil Valentine. Hope he's okay. So if you want to get into the good and the bad, we could certainly do that, Ryan.
Yeah, we will. We'll delve into that here in a minute, and we're gonna do champagne toast because I've got a couple sneaky ones one in particular on offense who's just getting better week after week after week, and he made some really big catches against Ohio State. You might know who I'm talking about.
Well, there's 1 of 2 guys I'm thinking about. 1 of 3 guys actually that showed out this game. So yeah, that'd be fine.
Yeah. So, but just to now, I have to talk about this. And I want to make it clear though, the officiating is not is not why Illinois lost. So I'm putting that precursor here. So for anybody who's thinking Ryan's making excuses, I'm not making excuses. I am calling it like I see it, and I did make a big post about it. The field judge, that young woman out there, just shouldn't have been out there. Yeah, she was over her head, just beyond words. Ohio State fans and me had been going back and forth about, you just play through contact. Ohio State receivers are used to it. Playing through contact is one thing. It's another to have your jersey held and grabbed and tugged for 7 yards, and then you're just completely shoved out of the way to, that first pass from Altmaier to Bowick was beautiful. I think that could have easily been a big play to set Illinois up for something, even 3 points. You know what I mean? But you're not allowed to. So that was just a really bad tone setter, and then it just kind of got worse, Kev, as the game went on, and the Altmaier interception, Kev.
Yeah, that's one. That's where I'll get to this. Like, that's one you see called or not called. That's a 50-50 one, right? The same with Colin Dixon. Hudson Clement on the ball that he dropped. You can go back and watch the replay. There's a hand around his waist. Those are 50-50 ones. You don't get those. Like, you go, okay. A guy being ridden all the way down the field like the pass to Bowick, that's not a 50-50. That's 100-0. Colin Dixon just getting shoved out of bounds, that's 100-0. And then the one in the corner of the end zone with Justin Bowick, that's a 90-10.
Yeah.
Like it's just those are like, it's like, how do we miss all 3? We don't get one of the 3 of them. Not one of the, now granted, we scored, I think, on the Dixon one. But it's just like, Come on, man. The Bullock one was huge. Like I went
It
back and
was.
looked
Think
at what
about
it
this.
meant from a
Illinois goes
field
down.
position change. It was huge.
Illinois possibly go down to take a 7-3 lead, dude. That place would have went nuts.
We would have the ball on their side of the field. Like no, I think it was 10-0 already when that one happened, but it's still like, yeah, we could have made it 10-7, 10-3. Like we could have been in the ball game.
And I
The
want to
one in the Bullock and the one in the end zone, we probably get a chance to get in the end zone. It's 20-7 at halftime, maybe. You know, it was like, dude, there's just little things that would have, and I'll get into it later why the margin means so much, but it's just, I don't think Illinois would have won had we got all four of those. Ohio State, I was talking to an Ohio State fan leaving the building. It was really cool. It's like Ohio State plays really, really clean football. That's a really well-coached team. They don't make any mistakes. So, yeah, it's just was like, ugh, yeah.
And
then the Cole Rusk one was the right call. He's forced out of. It's just a weird rule that he's forced out of bounds, so therefore he has to reestablish him. Like forcing a guy out of bounds should be a penalty. Then maybe I don't know, but the next play after the Cole Rusk first down that wasn't.
Yep. Guess what?
Need punt. Kalen Kermans, you can't do it. I watched the snap. Wasn't that bad? We watched the game yesterday. It wasn't that bad.
So all the things I'm saying here, and like, trust me, that crowd was amazing, Kev. Where would you rate that in all-time crowds that you've been there? Where would you rate that?
It's the best since the 80s. The 80s and 90s, yeah. It's the best since then, for sure.
It was just so live, and let me tell you,
I think the difference was there was 15,000 more people in some of the sellouts I went to in the 90s, like when I think it was Doug Higgins made the kick against Michigan State 15-13 in 1990. Like that place was so incredibly loud. Now, granted, I was a kid too, and things are different, but I think it was since the renovations of Memorial Stadium is the best crowd I've ever seen.
What's up, Big Reese? Appreciate you watching. We do, man. We love you. I guess the point of what I was trying to make is that we were so ready to just cheer, dude, and just go and just like explode, and like we were live, and the Illini team really didn't give us much that first half to do that. And by that time, man, you know, the college kids up there had been up since 2. Like they did stay till the fourth quarter, but man, that's I think why Brett Bielema was so bummed, because you work hard for all this. You know, and yes, Illinois comes down on their first possession of the second half, 20-10. The place is loud, dude. It's fever pitch, right? Imagine that from the second possession of the game when Illinois puts pressure on them now. Now it was 7-3 or something, right? 10-7. All right, we got a game, baby. Let's do it. They just kept kneel after false start, after fumble, after interception. It was just I remember sitting and putting my hand in my head, and I was just thinking, could we play any worse? You know what I mean? Like, I was like, all this, I was just looking around like, we just want to cheer, man. And like, it was just like, no, we're not going to let you. And I was just thinking, man, that's why I was so mad, Kev. Because I was like, here we are. We're all here to just show, you know, that we believe in these guys, and these guys have worked hard for this moment. And I think the moment maybe was just too big for them, you know, I think Brett admitted that to a degree. He, you know, in the post-game presser that, and you know, and Luke Altmaier did to a degree too. He said he thinks that guys were pressing, and you know, he missed Colin Dixon on that first throw of the game. You remember that, Kev?
Yeah, I was a little bit behind him, and it hit Colin. Like guys got to make plays. Like you want to end up winning a game like that. You want to make that a game. Guys got to make plays. Our guys didn't make plays. Like the ball was behind him. That's on Luke. It's in Colin's hands. He didn't make. It's on him too. Same thing with the throw to Beatty. He had to slow up a little bit. Like it's just the little things. Like you got to do all those.
That's what I mean, though. Those little things, man. It's just like guys overthinking stuff. What about the Hudson Clement drop, right? Like that would have been a big play downfield. You know, I think that was 25, 30 yards maybe.
Yeah, we get in field goal range. I mean, he catches that ball, we're in field goal range.
Yep. So just little things like that. But anyway, that moment will happen again. I'm very confident it will. It may not be the number one team, Ohio State, but Oregon comes to town next year. You know, I think there'll be some moments. Yeah, Oregon comes to town next year. It's okay. Indiana showed you that they're human. It's all right.
Yeah, but how human are we going to be with losing like 14 starters?
there's guys coming back. I'm pretty sure the 5 for 5. I bet you we're going to have more people back than many think. But anyway, so I am with you though. With all the negative that Illinois shot themselves in the foot in the first half, that they were they didn't let those things determine and dictate that second half. Like sure 27-10, but we were driving after that, and then the strip fumble of Altmaier really was a deflator. Also Khalil Valentine's ankle too, that was a deflator, and the fumble right in front. Like, was that a fumble though, Kev?
I think it was a fumble, but good Lord, forward progress had been stopped for like how long are we not going to call forward? It was like, good gracious, blow the whistle.
Yes. And it did not look good either. It looked like all the guy's weight landed on his ankle. So
was moving around on the sideline, and these athletes are young, and man, it's Brandon Lampy. I agree. They got 5 games. They got 5 winnable games. And listen, like Illinois' schedule is still not to the easy part yet. Washington's a very difficult game. We'll get into that more next week. But we played the 4th toughest schedule in the nation. Played the 4th toughest schedule in the nation, toughest in the Big Ten so far. And we play the weakest schedule in the Big Ten with our remaining 5. So the season is still in front of these. Everything that these guys wanted to accomplish is still in front of them.
Yeah.
So things that happen. USC beat Michigan. That was huge. That was absolutely huge for Illinois moving forward. USC is going to play Notre Dame this week. By the way, everybody, fight on. We are desperately wanting a USC win in that one. It boosts our strength of record. It knocks Notre Dame out of the playoff. Penn State, whether they thought they could get back in the playoff with the loss to UCLA or not, they're out, right? Yep. Indiana beats Oregon. Once again, we lost to the number 3 team in the country. Some people are voting them number 1. So you got teams that are receiving voter shares for number 1 that are the 2 losses that we have this season. There are Duke plays Georgia Tech this weekend
at home against number 12 undefeated Georgia Tech. By the way, we're gonna pick that game on Fade the Deuce Wednesday.
We got 5 ranked on ranked. We picking that one.
It's a good one.
But how about this one? This. I wish Matt was on. We'll talk about this for sure. We'll at least talk about it tomorrow night. Duke's a 2.5-point favorite at home against the number 12 team, undefeated team in the country. That's a pros versus Joe's spread. That's Joe's jump on. Joe's jump on. They're getting 2.5 points for Georgia Tech. Pros are jumping on Duke. I like that game a lot. I like Duke to win that game. So there are things that are setting up that are going in Illinois' favor, that Illinois can still make its way back in the playoff, despite what I've been fighting with people left and right on.
And Washington, besides Illinois, the toughest game they have after that's Oregon. I think they could be a 9-win team as well.
They go at Michigan this week.
Okay, yes, they do, but there's no guarantees they lose this. Michigan hasn't impressed me. They beat Wisconsin 24-10 at home. Think about that.
Well, they did beat the number 25th ranked Nebraska. So,
Yeah, because Nebraska's played such a tough schedule.
This is mind-boggling to me that Illinois was a 14.5-point underdog against the number 1 team in the country. They lost by 18. So the country said last week Illinois is the 17th best team in the country, and they were 3.5 points worse than what the spread was. Okay, and they dropped 9 spots in the poll. Now, Oklahoma was a top 10 team that lost to a 2-loss unranked Texas team. They only went down 8. Oregon was a 7.5-point favorite that lost by 10, and they had a pick 6. In the game, and they only moved down 5 spots. The voting in the AP poll was ridiculous this week.
And there's people who admit, Kevin, they don't even watch the games, dude. Like, I called one of them out because one of them actually voted for Michigan and didn't put a vote in for USC. So, like, tell me you didn't watch the game without telling me you didn't watch the game.
OU's hanging its hat as a 14th ranking, beating Michigan at their place, but Michigan got curb stomped worse by USC, a team Illinois beat. Like, it's just none of this shit makes any sense.
Let's do the Texas one for everybody. Texas, 3-2 with the loss to 2-4 Florida.
Their best win is Oklahoma on a neutral field. Granted, that's a good win, but Oklahoma's burying its resume off a win against Michigan.
2-4 Florida. There you go.
Or a win against Auburn, which people who watched the game said like the calls kept going OU's way. It's just
if Illinois right now was whatever they're at, 5-2, and let's just say one of their losses was to 2-4. Let's just say who's back there in the standings?
UCLA.
Yeah, UCLA, who looks good, by the way. Penn State, Wolka Dragon. Let's just say 2-4. UCLA, or 2-4. Wisconsin. You think Wisconsin at 2-4, who's been bad, would Illinois would be ranked if that was one of their losses, or even sniffing around the rankings? Tennessee, how is Texas 20 or 21 just because they beat?
How was Nebraska in the top 25? The one tough game they played all year. Well, granted, they got Cincinnati, and Cincinnati's now ranked, which because they beat a Iowa State team that was just really banged up.
And that's 2 weeks in. And Iowa State, by the way, got beat up by Colorado.
Right. That team is that team's on life support from an injury standpoint. I feel bad for Matt Campbell. The AP poll's a joke. Somebody said it. Jay Bagan and French both said it, man. You guys are exactly right. So Evan Frencher, I agree with you. Feeling okay. The fact, and that's fine. He's right. FBI has us the number 13th ranked team in the country on strength of record. And I'm with that. So,
and you know what? I think the CFP committee, by the way, remember, they're not the AP voters. I think everybody, we're talking about these AP rankings. The AP rankings aren't always even close to what the CFP committee votes. I think they look at FPI and stuff like that. They look at strength of record. They look at, strength of schedule. They look at head-to-head. They look at who you beat. I think the whole Notre Dame thing, the argument there with Notre Dame, and I'm sure all you people watching this or listening, if you're on social media, you've seen Notre Dame people saying, well, we have 2 close losses compared to your 2, bigger margin, 1 blowout, 1-18. Here's my argument with Notre Dame fans. Who have you beat?
Purdue.
It's
their best win.
Boise State.
Oh, Boise State, yeah, probably.
4-2.
Hey, listen, according to FPI, Illinois still has a 15.6% chance to make the playoff. I agree with that assessment. Some things have to work in their favor.
Beating Washington.
I
bet you it boosts up to like 25 or something.
The thing I worry about is, first of all, Washington's lost 1 game at home since 2021. It was Ohio State earlier this year. The other thing that I worry about is beating Washington. And if Brett's 4-1 at Illinois after a bye. If you beat Washington and then be late against Rutgers,
you wouldn't worry about that. I'm telling you, Memorial Stadium is going to be the place to be if Illinois beats Washington. I can tell you that. It's already sold out. So the fans are ready to erupt. We're ready to have a Rutgers defense that gives up 600 yards a game. Just come on, baby, come on. But here's the key why, and we're not previewing Washington yet as we transition into hoops chatter, because I'm excited about hoops. Illinois State this Sunday, big time official visitors coming. But is that with Brett Bielema 4-1 after buys, but Illinois is going to be able to rest, get healthy, and prepare 2 weeks for Washington, they've got a dynamic quarterback, but let me just tell you, their defense is very beatable. I watched.
What Illinois needs to do, and is if you listen to Jay Lehman on the drive with Curtis Stone and what's the other, Evan, whatever. If you had a chance to listen to them, you can go listen to the podcast. Those guys are fun. I support them. Lehman talked about it, and I completely agree with what he's saying here. And I talked about it last week. You look at the Purdue game, you look at the USC game, look at the yards per play based on when we threw the ball versus when we ran the ball. And you could do the same against Ohio State. It's not as variable against Ohio State because we had through 44 passes. When you look at the strength of Ryan, who's our best player on offense?
Luke Altmaier.
Who's our second best player?
Hank Beatty.
Who's our third best player?
Man, I would say probably. I would say
Colin
Colin Dixon.
Yeah, I mean, where you start going down the
I
line,
would go
here and
Aiden
you're like,
Lawfrey when he's healthy, fourth probably.
yeah, he looks really good when he's and man, he got battled hard. So what I think that Illinois needs to do is get to, Jay said, as much as a 65-35 split. A 60-40 would be acceptable in my opinion, but not any worse than that. Illinois needs to realize we're a throw team. We're a run tempo, we're a throw team. We don't have the defense to beat you in a grinded out game. We don't have the offensive firepower from running the ball. And maybe our running backs being banged up will help this happen. And I hate it. I hope they're both healthy. Prayer for both of them. But Illinois needs to become an offensive team that throws the freaking ball, dude. Luke Altmaier is, I think, 23rd in the nation in passing yards per game. He's like 5th in the country in yards right now, but obviously most of this country's had a bye. Almost everybody's had a bye.
He leads the Big Ten in completions.
Right. He can throw for well over 3,000 yards in this season. We have 5 games ago. He's at 1,800. He needs to just throw the damn ball. Like we need Cole Rusk is emergence. Like that's a real threat in the pass game. That's who we need to be. We need to go 11 personnel with Cole Rusk and fool you with runs, fool you with misdirection and runs, and throw the damn ball. We need to throw the damn. We need to be a passing offense. I'm not saying we need to go air raid, but we need to throw the, because that is Illinois. The offensive line is much better at pass. By the way, offensive line, great pass pro this week. There were 4 sacks. At least 2 or 3 of them were on offense.
Yeah, I will tell you what. The one thing, no matter whatever it is, we always get hit with a cornerback blitz, dude. It hits us every week. There's always one guy off the edge that gets us, and that's an Achilles heel right now. But yes,
the guy made a heck of a play, just barely getting a hand on that ball. By the way, and Luke was getting ready to rip it to Bowick, and he was open on a comeback route. Yes, we got to fix that. It still took too long to get out.
And Ohio State rushes.
The one sack that was on the O-line was at the end of the first half, where we ended up punting, and then it was the last play of the first half. That was the one play where they got real pressure from us that I feel like Luke made a mistake where it wasn't on Luke. That was not on Luke. The other 3 were. They gave a sack to Caden Curry where Luke was clearly running the ball for the end zone, and the kid made a great play tripping him up. So it's just like, man, the other one where Arvell Reese is coming right up the middle, like just make a read, dirt it at a guy's.
By the way, Arvell Reese is an animal. There's not
the best football player on the field without question. I don't care about Jeremiah Smith. I don't care about Caleb Downs. Arvell Reese is
he's
guy.
Linebacker 1 in the draft next year. I'm telling you.
Dude, he tackled Beatty on a
he caught it. He ran all the way across the field.
Jeez Louise. Did you watch him like just bully Melvin Priestley?
That's the bull rush before halftime right there. That was the play.
Oh God, dude, like
so Arvell Reese is a linebacker who bull rushes right tackles and can push them back into the quarterback, which is what he did.
And can chase down Hank Beatty from a middle linebacker spot on a screen pass to the sideline.
Okay, well, maybe I'm really happy to see that. I didn't know that. I didn't realize that Valentine was on the bike and he was walking on it, dude. He had to be carried off by linemen. He couldn't even put weight on it. I don't want to give too much away, but I will say this for Illinois fans. I was told that Caden Fagan is an AC joint. So if you watched him doing shaking, I was asking about that. And he went back in the game, and you could see he was over there. Kev, you were on the other side. You probably could see a little bit, but he was right in front of me where I was sitting.
I had no idea he was hurt. I was wondering why he wasn't in the game. I'm like,
so he helped him get all the way down inside the 10, and you could see he was just in excruciating pain. So they took him out, and then they put him back in after 2 plays. And then after they scored, he was like shaking his hand like. And I was asking, I was like, what is that? Like he hurt his wrist. And then somebody told me your AC joint, the tingling, and it goes down into your arm. So so I looked that up. Mild is like 1 to 2 week, moderate 3 to 6, severe surgery. But I'm hoping mild. So he was hurt Friday.
Yeah, they'll probably put him in some kind of brace, and
Yeah.
hopefully he can go. Like, I love his physicality. I loved his toughness, man. I know we all want to crap on the guys when they don't play exactly well, but I thought that Jordan Anderson showed a little something. Now, granted, there was that one pass play he had where he's just got to go through Sonny Styles. He tried to dance around him. He's got to go through him.
Yes, and
Um,
I was actually
yeah,
sitting next to some people. I don't know if they're like buddies of his or classmates, but they're like, "Hey, there's our boy Jordan." Blah blah. And I'm thinking, I said, he's 6'4", 240 pounds. How is he getting stood up by the freaking safety? I was like, dude, I said, he's a big dude. He needs to go through the dude. Like, put your shoulder down, put your helmet
yeah.
down, drive through. You don't get stood up by a 6 foot, not a 200-pound safety. So I was like, anyway, other than that, Jordan Anderson it might be needed a little bit more. But you know what? I agree with what you're saying so much about us passing more, but because Aiden Lawfrey can break one now. You throw it a lot,
Yeah.
right? You keep throwing it, and then they're going to say, "All right, we got it here. It's 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 4." They're passing.
You got it's like Lehman said, dude. We've got Luke Altmaier for 5 more games. We probably have Barry Lunny Jr. for 5 more games. Let these dudes rip, dude. Let them rip. Luke Altmaier started almost 30 games for Illinois. He can get up to the line and see a light box and call a RPO where he can give the ball to Lawfrey. Like, let's do that. Let's become a team let's be a throw first team. This is what they need to do. And frankly, Bielema saying we need to go a little more tempo. I agree with him.
I think it pissed him
And
off.
him saying
It
that
pissed
is
him off
not.
that Lunny wasn't doing it. He waited. So,
Hey, dude, he's the head football coach. He's the one who could say go
yep.
tempo. He can tell him to go tempo at any point in time. So I would not be surprised to see us go a little tempo against Washington. Another thing that you can do when you're going tempo is there's a crescendo of crowd noise, and that place is probably the second loudest place. It's probably second. It's in the top 5 loudest places in the Big Ten with Oregon, Penn State, Columbus, probably Washington, probably some level in that order. When you go tempo, sometimes you don't allow the crowd to get back into it to disrupt your timing of the offense. So, I would like to see us do that, and I think you'll see
What,
that.
Sean? This is why we keep you around for beautiful nuggets like this. Sean,
you know who won't be in the playoffs, Sean?
you know what? I was going to say we might not be in a bowl game. We might be in the playoffs. What did yeah, BB threw him under the bus. I don't know if it was it really throwing him under the bus though, Kev?
No, I mean he's the head freaking coach. He's the head freaking coach. You want to go tempo? Go tempo, Brett. Call it. Tell them. They do what they tell you. They do what you tell them to do. Like Aaron Henry does what Brett tells him to do. Like, there's part of this defense that's bend but don't break. Is hey, by the way, all right, I'm gonna be real quick with this. I thought the defense played overall pretty well. I thought the offensive line held up really well. The things we absolutely were killing us in this game is that our wide receivers really weren't getting separation from amazing coverage by some amazing defensive backs who are going to play in the National Football League, and that hurt us. And then also our DBs couldn't cover for periods of time because we are not getting pressure on the quarterback, dude. We have to design and draw up some plays. Like, I don't understand what's going on with Kenenna Odeluga not rushing the passer. Like, Kenenna Odeluga showed us against Iowa in 2022, against Michigan State last year. It's like, it is the ability, like, that's what he does. Illinois needs to find some more exotic blitzes. And I know they're worried about it because of coverage, but frankly, I think Juice Clark, Torrey Cox played really well. Granted, we're missing Xavier Scott. That's huge. Like, we have to go and start rushing we need to come up with some more exotic blitzes, and I think we need to let some of these guys loose who can get after the pass.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I will tell you though, there was at least 2 or 3. Man, Gabe Akis was getting in that backfield. He disrupted quite a few plays.
He's got to do something,
especially some of the.
We got to do something.
Yeah.
We got to do something like line him up at middle linebacker, just surprise the shit out of people. Like we got to do something different. We got to. We are forcing teams into 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 16 and 15 against Purdue and USC and Ohio State, and we're not getting off the field. We're 119th in third down defense. We've got to change something.
I know you like Lunny, but you literally just bashed him without coming right out and saying it. Reason to miss him if he's replaceable.
I don't think so. I think Barry Lane is a really damn good coach. I think that lack of tempo thing was a miscommunication, and then and then we'll go from there. I agree with what somebody said. Lunny's probably a head coach next year. Lunny's either an offensive coordinator at a bigger program in college football, or he's a head coach at a mid-major.
I'm hearing rumblings behind the scenes of that too. Like he's ready to be a head coach, and doesn't mean he'll just leave if the opportunity doesn't present itself. But I think most people think it will.
He's Northwest. He's Northwest Arkansas royalty. So whoever the next head coach is full time in Arkansas, he would consider that position. He really, and I wouldn't hold anything against him for it. I don't know who we would go with for.
Don't say Barry Lunny is not replaceable. Everybody's replaceable. If James Franklin is going to get replaced at Penn State for what he's done for them, yes, that it can happen. Look, here's a good at Iowa. Think about this. Look at was it Hayden Fry, right? They probably thought he wasn't replaceable. Look what Kirk Ferentz has done.
Right.
He's the all-time leading wins in Big Ten history. So
David French, impressed with Bailey, played his ass off. Agreed, dude. Matt Bailey was sticking. He was hitting. He was getting. I felt terrible for him. It was late in the game. I think it was right before the Jeremiah Smith touchdown catch. He turned to the student section, waved his arm to get the fans fired up, and they were all gone. I felt terrible for that kid. He played his ass off. Matt Bailey absolutely played his ass off. Should we get Champagne Toast and talk basketball?
And then we're going to do Champagne Toast and answer one question from Big Reese, who deserves it. Are the bowl games still important since there's a playoff? Looks like the bar has been raised. I will say this. The bowl games are important for a couple of reasons. Certain bowl games. I would say the Citrus Bowl is a good one because that's a barometer for like you're on the cusp of a playoff. Like you had a great season. You just missed out on it. But the Citrus Bowl and some of these other ones are storied bowl games. The Citrus Bowl goes back decades. You know, Jeff George and the Illini played in it 35 years ago. So there's certain bowl games that there's tradition, there's prestige. It also sets you up pretty well for the next season, like in Illinois, who returned a bunch of players. Also for a program who's on the cusp and just got bowl eligible. Maybe they hadn't been bowl eligible in a while. And guess what? You go win that 7th game. That gives you momentum into the next year. Like the bowl games are good for certain programs and situations. Obviously, every team wants to make the playoff. But let's say Illinois misses the playoff again. By the way, Kevin, I've heard the Citrus Bowl would be cool with taking Illinois again if they miss out. I'm just telling you.
Yeah. I'd go back and talk to my wife about it yesterday. She's like, yeah, let's go. So, yeah, and like Bill Moe says, bowls are important for getting guys reps because there's going to be some guys who are sitting out. Listen, if we go to a bowl game, if we go to the Citrus Bowl this year, Carson Boyd is probably our starting quarterback.
That'd be exciting to watch him go, right?
Right. I think there's levels of that are exciting. I think the level of yes, bowl games are still important because Illinois hasn't been to back-to-back bowl games since 11-12. Illinois hasn't gone to 3 or 4 bowl games since the 90s, in 3 out of 4 seasons. So, yeah, we got to do that. And listen, we'll talk about Barry Lunny leaving and who the OC might be after the season. I'm just going to tell you some things that aren't going to happen right now from Illinois fans' perspective. Number one, I think it's a little too early for Art Sikowski to be the offensive coordinator. I think he takes a bigger role on the offense of whoever the next offensive coordinator is. And number two, it's not going to be Nathan Shieldhouse, no matter what anybody thinks. He's the passing game coordinator for the Los Angeles Rams. And Riley and Nathan are really good friends. It's not something that Nathan wants to do, and I don't blame him. Shieldhouse has done. He's in the McVay coaching tree. He's going to get an offensive coordinator job in the NFL, which means you don't have to freaking recruit, which means you actually get an offseason. So
The only thing I think he might
that's
leave
probably
is if Bielema, something happened. Maybe if they offered him the head coaching position down the road or something. Let's say in 10 years, let's say he's an OC in the NFL, right? And he's got 3 or 4 great years or a couple good years, and Illinois offered him, right, to be the head coach. That's the only.
probably still wait. It's probably still wait on the NFL job.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to our champagne toast. Since I teased it a little bit earlier, Kevin, and you've already mentioned his name.
Go ahead. Take it on
you know
offense.
who I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
I talked to a guy who sat with his family after the tailgate, and they chatted for just a brief moment. And I've just heard some of the trials and tribulations he fought through, and man, he's been blocking his butt off. He's been blocking a lot better of late. He's a dynamic threat now. He adds another dimension to the offense. I'm talking about Cole Rusk. So Cole Rusk is my offensive Mountain Dew champagne toast for the offense, because to me it's exciting to think about this offense now with the tight end threat added into Hank Beatty, Colin Dixon, Hudson Clement, and Justin Bowick. There's 4 guys that you're really, really dependable out there that can catch, on the outside, and having Cole Rusk, who's shown how good his hands are. Let's go back to the Duke game. Okay. That touchdown in the back of that end zone, even though he hadn't done much really before or played a lot, beautiful catch in traffic, back of the end zone, clutch. If you think about it this year, he's made some really tough catches, and he's been dependable. I was told, Kev, his knee, he's finally feeling more like healthy. It takes a long time for a knee surgery like that to just come back, especially with football. I was told he wasn't really 100%. He was more like 80, 85 earlier in the year. He's getting back to 95 to 100. I was told he feels like himself again. So, Cole Rusk.
Yep. Yeah, I concur with that, man. I'd second that one. So I'm going to go a little bit different route here. There are a lot of guys. I think that Hudson Clement played a really good game. He made some tough catches. I think Hank Beatty played well. I think the offensive line really pass protected for a 3rd straight week. I want to give it to all those guys. I'm going to go a little bit different route here in the same vein. We've talked about him already. I talked to his family before the game. I was walking from a tailgate to a tailgate, and I see all these 21s. And I talked to Lawfrey's family, and they're like, man, that ankle is still bothering him. It is still absolutely bothering him. And dude came out with 8 for 50. He's our best pass protective back. He had a catch. Like, I think Aiden Lawfrey's playing with a ton of grit and heart. And so for that one, I give my champagne toast to Aiden Lawfrey, Gibson City's finest.
That's right. Tough. And guess what? The new 5 for 5 gives him possibly 2 more years to play at Illinois. And that's awesome, Kev. I didn't even know you ran into them on the way into the game. So,
yeah, I was walking. I wanted to go see the fire truck, man. I love what Robert's done with that. I think it's really cool. Walked over to that place. Robert's always been good to me. Just chatted with him for a quick, brief minute. And but on the way there, I was walking past, and all these people were wearing 21 jerseys, and I just asked, like, "Hey, how's 2-1 doing?" And they're like, "Man, I don't know how much he's going to play today because that ankle is still bothering him." And a guy goes out there and has our 2 longest runs from scrimmage and had 8 carries for 50 yards and battled his ass off.
And you can see his maneuverability, his quickness against Ohio State, dude. He was getting away from guys, So,
yeah, you can also see Ohio State's speed, because that one that he busted out to the outside, if that's against most of the teams that we're going to play, that's a 10 more yards, whereas Ohio State just has the guys who have the speed to catch him. So.
You
want me to go defense
first?
Defense,
that's fine.
I already gave Matt Bailey his flowers. Let me go Juice Clark, man. Jaheim Clark, dude.
I don't care about the touchdown from it doesn't matter, man. That's not on him. It's a 1-yard line. That was a beautiful ball.
No, it was an unbelievable move and cut by Smith. But I think that Jaheim Clark is bringing juice to this defense. He is helping the secondary tremendously. Really glad to have 6 back. So, I mean, I already gave Matt Bailey all his flowers. Ryan, please give him the champagne toast, because I gave him flowers. But Juice Clark.
Yeah, so we'll give it to Bailey, and I'm cool with that about Bailey. But I want to give out some like just some more kudos. I think Hayden had a couple really nice plays.
I was gonna say JoJo was right there
JoJo
too.
had a
Man.
couple of nice
And JoJo,
sticks. Especially and around the red zone and the goal line, dude, he's tough, man. Like he had a couple big tackles. And Dylan Rosiak stuck out a few times too. Some huge tackles.
Miles Scott.
Yeah, there was the tackling was a lot better against Ohio State, right?
But Torrey Cox had a couple great sticks. Great stick. Like the one on Jeremiah Smith, sorry.
Yeah.
It was just that was impressive, man. The Torrey Cox, Matt Bailey, JoJo Hayden were all the guys in my mix. Dude, Barna had a couple nice plays. They were close, man. So
yep. So and again, Gabe Akis was back there creating havoc. A couple of those tackles for loss were because Gabe Akis was back there disrupting stuff. But yeah, so we're giving it to Bailey. We're giving it to Jaheim Clark. Clark to me seems like a guy who's going to be there a lot because you can't teach 6'4" and athletic, long arms. So that's going to be our toast. Special teams, I think they're really, David Alano was.
David Alano?
Yeah, David Alano only got 2 extra points. It wouldn't let. He got a field goal too. My bad.
Hey, how about this one? I'll give one to a guy. He didn't make a play this game, but he made a play the last couple games. He might have actually made a play. Andre Lovett the third, man. That dude gets after it on.
Yeah, he does.
Teams, so
he's a guy. He's a guy that's going to be a future starting defensive back. All right. So, with that said, we'll talk a lot more Washington next week. Looking forward to that. So, Illinois hoops.
Hey, real quick, Ryan, I want to answer a question. Hey, Sean, I love you, dude. You're always on the show, so you're out here. Sabur Kareem played pretty well too. Bill Mo, I agree. He's playing more and more. The reason Carson Boyd would start over Ethan Hampton is that Carson Boyd is the quarterback of the future for this team. Ethan Hampton is not. Ethan Hampton might have another year if we get 5 for 5. We'll figure it out. But you would also invest in Carson Boyd in a bowl game to see what you have for your
against
future.
A SEC opponent.
Right. And then and I do think Xavier Scott will be in the NFL. So and Anonymous 101 wants to talk some hoops.
Let's see who this is. Anonymous 101. Yeah. What's your real name?
Keaton Wagler. That's his name. It's Keaton Wagler. He tuned in.
Anon 101 is the one that says I betrayed the Discord. He thinks that I abandoned them. And I'm like, no. Anyway, man. So I'm glad you've watched enough to know that we haven't talked hoops in a long time. Mel, we've lost number 1 and 3, dropped out of the top 25. I think it's ridiculous. We've already went over. There's an ESPN SEC bias going on there. I think most people agree. Illinois has a top 15 strength of record, so there we go. All right. Illinois basketball. The first AP poll was announced yesterday, and led by a bunch of big teams, especially Purdue at number 1. You've got Michigan at number 6. You've got UCLA at 12. You've got Illinois at 17. Michigan State at 22. Wisconsin at 24. And maybe one other at 25. And this is just off the top of my head. So I'm not sure. I thought there was one more in there who snuck in at 25. But a bunch of Big Ten teams. What you don't really agree with Wisconsin at 24 or something?
Then isn't John Tanji gone?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. They just think Blackwell's just going to be a beast, I
think he's pretty good.
They still have some good. They've got some good bigs still. Now what we're here to talk about. Illinois 17. And I think a lot of people, if you look at Kev, Ken Pom has Illinois basketball at number 6. And Ken Pom's people love that, Kev. They think that's a big deal to be at 6 on Ken Pom. That means
it is. It is. You have 4 returning starters and 2 transfers that have done something at this level. So there's a lot of question marks. I'm like, I think there's a lot of love for Mihailo Petrovic in that. I think there's a lot of love for David Mirkovich in that. I think there's
The V6 twins
it's
back to the
interesting.
V6 twins together.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I love that Keepin has a 6 because I do believe in analytics. I just don't know how you're rating Merkovich or Petrovic. I don't know how those guys are getting ratings. They also put some value in recruiting classes, and we're all really happy and super excited about what we've heard about Keaton Wagler. I even said on this show I was more excited about Brandon Lee. It appears at this point in time I was wrong. That's going to be tough.
Is it going to be
I
tough
just
to
don't know
know
what
we
we're
have a
going
good
to.
scorer like Brandon Lee, who isn't even the best freshman on the team?
Yeah, and I thought that Brandon Lee was going to be like really like emphasize put his stamp on it from a defensive perspective. So, and Jay Bagan, how many top 25 teams we're going to play? A lot. We're going to play a lot of top 25 teams. We're going to play 1, 4, 7, 10,
Tennessee,
12,
16 or 18, 20.
15, 18, 22, and 24 are all on the schedule. So this is a really tough schedule. We're going to find out really quickly how what these guys
But you
are
know
made
what,
of.
Kev? This is an old team.
I think it's a really good team.
This is an old team. I love that everybody else is talking about Purdue and how excited they are, and it makes them want to cry about how much great the season Purdue's going to have, and it's a historic thing for them, blah, blah, blah. And then Michigan, getting a lot of love and hype because they got Axel, Borg, whatever his name is. Lana Borg, whatever, the dude from UAB. And then Merez Johnson, and they got the big from UCLA. So everybody's going to talk about Michigan. I truly believe, though, and no, we don't know anything per se yet. Things I've heard behind the scenes, plus I think, the emergence with Wagler, plus I think Boswell's going to have an all Big Ten defensive type season. He deserves it. He's one of the best on-ball defenders in the league. I think this year's the year he's going to get that love he deserves. I won't be shocked that if Illinois is not contending for the Big Ten title this year. I think their preseason picked 4th, so that's not too much of a hot take. But, man, I'm telling you, the mix of old age with size and skill, Kev. There is so much skill and length, and it's ridiculous with the Avicic brothers, and Zvonimir's put on 20, 25 pounds, and he's not that.
And Tommy's in the best shape of his life, right?
Yeah. And we all know
Tommy's leaned down and bulked up at the same time.
And I haven't even talked about Andrej Stojakovic yet, right?
Right, which everybody's sleeping on. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens with this team.
We play Purdue.
They've got a lot of
in
pieces.
West Lafayette, Evan.
I'm excited. I'm super excited. So about what this team has to offer. Play Texas Tech very early. We're going to find out what this team is about. Texas Tech. This is not your older brother's Texas Tech. This is a Texas Tech team that could just flat out score. Got some really good guard play. It's just interesting. Like, will Ty Rodgers play? I don't know. Do they need him to play? Will Brad have a bigger rotation? Will he play 8 or 9 guys? Crocker being hired, like Illinois, the defensive leaps. Illinois got more length and more size this year to protect the rims. Zvonimir is an amazing defensive player around the rim.
Having Ben Hummerkaus be your 9th, 9th guy, it's nice.
Well, is he? Yeah, I mean, and I think Ben Hummerkaus is going to shut a lot of people up this year. I think he's put on some mass, and he's got another year with Fletch. There's also that second-year transfer back. Dude, is Kylan Boswell going to shoot in the 20% from three-point range this year? No, I don't think so. I think Illinois is going to try to force more turnovers than they did a year ago. This is going to be a really interesting team to watch. It's going to be really fun. They've got some ball players. Who knows when Mihailo Petrovic gets cleared? Hopefully sooner rather than later. I don't think that's a concern with Mirovic, from my understanding. And then the non-conference schedule is really brutal, right? You got Alabama, Tennessee, Missouri, UConn. Like, who am I missing? Like, they just have a lot of teams, Texas Tech, all in the non-con. But the Big Ten schedule sets up pretty favorably. Brad's sturdy, and somewhere I saw it, and Brad's a pretty realistic guy. Like, he's not a like pie in the sky guy. He said he like going 10-0 to start the Big Ten play would not completely surprise him. So the front end of the Big Ten schedule sets Illinois up to be a contender all year long. And we all know how confidence goes and where guys go. And start believing in yourself, start hanging out, like, just the confidence, man. It's a big deal. This is gonna be a good basketball team. Hey, we're ranked again. We're ranked again to start the season. I think we're ranked probably rightfully so where we need to be. Beat Texas Tech early on in the season, we'll go. So
that's right. And here's the thing.
At our house.
Here's the thing: you get Alabama and Chicago right after that. It's
and that's Alabama team's a little bit different this year. So,
and that's what's fun too. It's like you get all these matchups, and it's not the same matchup from last year. Illinois is not that young team starting KJ and playing Will Riley a bunch, right?
No, you're hoping to get production from Keaton Wagler and David Murkovich. Everybody else is old.
Yeah, true. And David has an old man's game, really. So
he does, and from everything I've heard, he's a tough SOB. So, like, I love that.
Yeah, that's right. In Florida, Illinois is playing the national champs in a scrimmage. I just feel like there's going to be eyeballs popping after Illinois scrimmages Florida. I think people are going to be like, "Hey."
It depends. Will it be like last year? Who did scrimmage last year where we couldn't guard anybody?
Ole Miss beat the brakes off us, man.
We couldn't guard a shadow. So,
Sean, yes, it is criminal. So super excited about that. Now, with that said, Illinois' first game Sunday exhibition against Illinois State Farm Center. Illinois is hosting 3 top 100 national kids from the class of 2026.
We play this.
Yeah,
this
the 19th,
Sunday?
dude. It's an exhibition.
Holy moly, it's here already. Is that on BT?
It is. So it's like we get the bye week for football. We can fill that in with hoops. So there's hoops, there's basketball, there's Illinois sports this weekend, right?
Time for me to sign up for my once a month, once a year
free
Big Ten Plus subscription.
Yeah, cancel it right after. Was it Ben? Big Reese said Ben should start. Brad said Merck fouls too much.
Well, fine. I've heard that Zvonimir might start.
We asked Brett. So here's one thing to think about. Brad Underwood was asked, "Is it possible to have all Balkan 5 lineup?" And it is possible. I don't think it's going to be 5-6 minutes straight. But here's why it could be advantage Illinois for even a couple minutes. They can all speak the same language, and nobody understands what they're calling, and nobody will have a clue. What if they're calling pick and roll, throwing you the oop, right? But it sounds something else, completely, entirely different.
So who plays the 3 in that?
Yeah.
Mirkovic?
Yeah, so it would be you'd have Petrovic, Stojakovic, and then Mirkovic. No, you might have Zvonimir's the 3. Yeah, Zvani. You know what? I'm going to start calling him Zvani. So we're going to have Zvani at the 3. And then we're going to have Mirk, and we're going to have Big Tommy at 5. And then because Zvonimir does handle the ball like a guard,
Did you I know everybody saw it on Twitter, but if you haven't, man, it's just like how to pronounce their names.
I'm pretty good at it. I'm pretty good at it. Mihailo Petrovic.
And then
Ty
Rogers.
It should have been, but for the starting lineup, this is the Illinois starting lineup. I'm going to predict it, though. So it could be Ben Hummerkaus, but if it's not, this is what it's going to sound like. And now at guard, your starting point guard, Mihailo Petrovic. At the shooting guard, Andrej Stojakovic. At Bam Boswell too. And then Andrej Stojakovic at the small forward, Zvonimir Ivicic at the 4, and Tomislav Ivicic at the 5. And then so we got Bam Bam mixed in with everybody. And then directly off the bench, well, they'll put in Big Merc maybe. So
I would say that like there's some people asking that like Tommy and Stojakovic aren't going to play in scrimmage. I would seriously be surprised if Stojakovic played in the scrimmage. He's recovering from a knee injury. I think he's healthy enough to play. If this was a regular season game against a real opponent, you needed to win the game, Stojakovic could play. It wouldn't be a problem. No sense in running him out there.
Even scrimmage against Florida, he shouldn't be playing either.
I would be highly shocked if guys like Kylan Boswell, Tommy, and Andrej Stojakovic play much at all. There's absolutely no reason to play those guys. You know who those guys are. You know what they deliver. Now, guys like Jake Davis and Ben Humrickhouse, for sure. Like you want to find Ben's going to try to settle into a new role. Keaton Wagler, Brandon Lee. Yeah, you want to find out what they're. Jason Jaxis. You want to like if Tommy's not playing, then it moves Jaxis up the depth chart. So you want to see about what these guys can do. I couldn't care less about whether or not some of those guys.
Some of them are going to because they got to have at least 5 guys, and if people get fouled, they'll probably have 9-man. Maybe they'll play some of the walk-ons, but.
Dude, AJ Red's still around.
AJ's around. We'll work on free throws, but yeah. Against Duke, I'm like, bro, just hit one, dude.
Evan, yes, I think Ty Rodgers will play in the Illinois uniform.
I think Hummer's ready to drop one, dude. He's ready. He's sick of everybody talking about him. So
hopefully I won't be the only guy defending him.
You defended him until you couldn't anymore, so I will give you props on that. I was just like,
and then he redeemed himself with some of his defensive performances.
Yeah, I was spotting some of them early where I was like, I'm going to hold my tongue for another game and let's see here. And then when I saw another 1 for 9 from 3, I'm like, I can't do it. I was like, you got to hit more than 1, man. Come on, dude. I get lucky. I close my eyes. I hit 1 out of 9. So, yes, I'm sure they'll be held out some against Illinois State. Andrej Stojakovic should not play until it matters. That's how I'm looking at it.
Hey Ryan, can I just say something real quick? We moved our traditional podcast from Sunday night to. I was traveling Sunday. I was in the car driving back home. Last night the Bears were playing. Sean Garner, I love you, dude. You love the Commanders. You wouldn't let me watch the game after the podcast in peace. You would have told me somebody just scored. No offense. So we moved it to Tuesday. We still got like over 100 comments tonight. Really appreciate you guys. If you haven't done so already, please go on the YouTube channel and subscribe and like it. We're working still on getting some sponsors for the show so we can do some cooler things. But I just appreciate everybody that jumps in. This is why Ryan and I do this. We love interacting with you guys, and we don't. I certainly don't think Ryan's the guy who has the inside information. I'm just the guy who loves sports and been watching this my whole life.
Yeah, but Kevin knows enough people that he talks to that he knows some stuff. But yes.
What's funny is like since we've been doing this, people have actually started reaching out to me to give me information.
What is it that Mike Cagley calls somebody like you an aggregator? Is that what he calls them?
Maybe. I don't know.
He's like, I'm not an insider, I'm an aggregator. Because I have privy to the info, but I didn't work for the info. Anyway, yeah, That's it. Fair. So hopefully Blake, come back to the Discord, Ryan. Okay, Bobby Benerco, it's bedtime. All right. I wish Bobby would come on here. You're a Commanders fan, Kevin. Jaden gave y'all a gift. No, Mother Nature gave him a gift. But guess what, Evan? Last year was a gift from above. Okay. So
right after Caleb Williams drove the team down to get a touchdown to take the lead with little time left, Matt Eberflus gave that gift. So Caleb Williams should be 2-0 against Jaden. Let's be real here.
True. Now,
after the officials tried to give Washington a gift.
Anon is Bobby. I knew it. But anyway, so as we get to final thoughts here, Illinois is hosting 3 top 100 players in the class of 2026. One of them is a big one from the state of New York who he had already rescheduled. People thought he was worried. That's Josiah Jervis from Archbishop Stepinac. He is coming this weekend to join Landon Davis and Adam Omidic. Okay?
Is it Jackson Davis or
It's
Landon,
Landon Davis. Not
Oh,
Jack.
okay, sorry. There's a Jackson Davis too, right? Is that
Probably,
right?
man. Probably. I just know the
Right,
shirt
I'm
for
sure there
sure.
is.
Yeah, any name we could think of, I guarantee there's like a Tom Jones that's probably pretty good out here somewhere.
What about Lucius Pucci, who played linebacker for Illinois State back in the day?
What? Lucius Pucci, huh? Luscious,
Luscious, Pussey from
Luscious,
Florida, played linebacker for Illinois State back in the day.
Luscious Pussy, huh? All right. What about Percy Femur from the cartoon Doug? He used to carry Doug all over the field. Hey, the star of the show, what's up? By the way, can I tell you your orange shirt looked lovely on you? Okay. Just wanted to tell you that.
She was rocking to keep it in orange and blue.
She had her orange shirt on. She tried to say she wasn't wearing an orange shirt, so I was like, "No, you got your orange shirt on." Why did Illinois take a player like Landon Davis? He'll be gone in a year. You know what, man? Why don't you ask the old Illini staff, man? They could probably give you the scoop. Now, so big weekend for Illinois hoops. I like where Illinois is sitting in 2026. Remember, they got Alex Costanza, who I still feel really good about. I'm probably this close to putting a crystal ball in on him. He's just deciding here soon if he's going to announce in the fall or if he wants to wait to be a spring. But I'm thinking they're leaning more towards fall. I feel pretty good about Cam Holmes right now. Cam Holmes is a guy I'm thinking really close about putting a crystal ball in. So those are coming soon. Probably by November, I'll be putting in something for those two. But yeah, so things are going good. Illinois is not worried about any of the recruiting issue stuff. They're taking guys they want. They have guys coming onto campus, who love what they see, love what they've got. They're not worried about who they're going to get, and they're really eyeing in on the class of 2027. There's so many tough kids who are from the state of Illinois in that class, like just quality players. So, recruiting is not anything the staff is going to be letting up on or struggling with anytime soon. So, Kev, I'll start with you with final thoughts so we can say goodnight. And yeah.
Every hope and dream that you had for this Illinois football team is still where it is today. Nothing has changed. A matter of fact, I think I predicted 10-2. I think I had Illinois at 5-2 at this point in the season. Maybe I had them beating Indiana, which Lord knows that's the way the schedule works out, right? Illinois caught all the breaks in the Big Ten football schedule as they didn't get Oregon or Penn State or Michigan this year. No, they got Indiana and USC, who are better than all three, who are better than Indiana's better than everybody but Ohio State, and I think they might be just as good. And then they also got USC, who's better than Michigan, which was proven, and they're better than Penn State, which we all agree. So sometimes that just happens. But 5-2, where we're at, and even if we happen to lose to Wisconsin, to a very good Washington team on Saturday, 9-3 is still very, like Ryan said, 8-4 is the floor. I'm really proud of this fan base coming back, selling out Rutgers. I'll be in attendance for Wisconsin and Northwestern. So, I'm just really everything's still where this team should be. Don't lose sight of what's happening and just appreciate the last 5 guaranteed games that we have with Luke Altmaier, the best quarterback I've seen.
Amen. Amen. Now, so just because I think they deserve it and we do not talk about them enough, we did talk about them earlier in the year. You gave them their flowers. Let me see here. Okay. I want to get her name right. So it is I'm talking about Illinois women's soccer, by the way.
Oh, nice.
They're ranked 24th and they're 12-2-1. And they are looking to go 13-2-1 on Thursday against Northwestern, which I think they're going to do. Pretty sure they're going to be qualified for the Big Ten women's soccer tournament, which is the first time in a long time. And they are in really good status with the RPI and the NCAA for them to make the NCAA tournament. So and by the way, Katie Holton is the name of the women's soccer team manager, coach. She's done a hell of a job replacing Janet Rayfield. I think they knew it was time for a younger voice in their program, and the results are great. They're ranked 24th. Also, Kev, we were hard on them last year. Illinois women's volleyball's 5-1 in Big Ten play to start.
They're playing really good, surprisingly. I'm still pissed at Chris Thomas for Bruce
Yeah, so this is a young volleyball team too, and they're really good. And one of their wins is against top 10 Purdue. They went into West Lafayette and beat them 3-1. So women's sports is looking really well right now. Of course, women's basketball, I've heard some great things about how good these young freshmen are they got on the team. And of course, AJ Guyton's daughter is on the team too. If anybody, there's some fun for Illinois women's basketball too. They're good. So I've heard good things about Big Letty, 6'7". They finally have a presence in the post to block shots. Things are looking really well and looking even better than they have been for Shauna Green's bunch. That's my final thought. A shout out to all the women's sports right now because they're doing it big on the Illini women's side. So with that,
yeah, and I'll be in attendance for either one of the games around the Northwestern game. I'm probably going to either Indiana or Northwestern. Probably Indiana. Northwestern senior night. We'll see if I can get out there for that one. But yeah, I'm gonna take my girls. Excited to go see it.
So again, please subscribe on YouTube if you have not already. We appreciate you. That'll do it for tonight's episode. We will see you tomorrow for Fade the Deuce with Matt McCumber and Urbana's finest. Swami out.
ILL.
INI. And you know what? I got to end this right, you guys.
Ryan and Kevin, they're spitting the truth. Keeping it real, keeping it orange and blue. Talk that. Orange and light.
See you tomorrow.
Ryan and Kevin, they're spitting the truth. Keeping it real, keeping it orange and blue. Talking recruit. Who's next in line? Line our pride. It's about that time. Orange and blue, yeah, that's how we do. Postgame vibes, breaking it through. Ryan and Kevin, the crew that you knew. Keeping it fresh, keeping it orange and blue. From the court to the field, every play, every step. Debating the cause where the game is at. Who's rising, who's falling, who's making the cut. Line 9 for life, never stuck in the rut. Okay, recruiting buzzer got the inside line. Post-game chatter, they're always on time. Breaking it down, they're the voices you trust. Orange and blue, yeah, they repping for us. Orange and blue, yeah, that's how we do. Post-game vibes, breaking it through. Ryan and Kevin, the crew that you knew. Keeping it fresh, keeping it orange and blue, yeah. So tune in, lean back, let the wisdom flow. Ryan and Kevin with the knowledge they throw. Line 9 Nation, this